All right, today we're jumping into Surah Yunus, the 10th chapter of the Quran. And let me tell you, it is a powerful piece of scripture. It really gets into doubt, points to these incredible signs all around us in the universe, and ultimately it lays out a profound choice for every single one of us. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the core idea of a revelation of wisdom. Then, we're going to explore the amazing signs in the universe that the surah points to. After that, we'll dive into some powerful lessons from the prophets, unpack the crucial choice and its consequences, and wrap it all up with the beautiful invitation to peace that sits at the very heart of this chapter. You know, right out of the gate, the surah tackles a very human reaction: skepticism. It gets right into why people were so amazed, almost shocked, that a divine message would come through a regular person, a man from their own community. So the surah kicks off with this really powerful question, almost challenging us, like, is this really so strange? And notice the message has two sides to it. It's a warning to everyone, but it's also a message of really good news for those who choose to believe. And boom, right away, you see this split. The exact same message hits people, and they have completely opposite reactions. For the disbelievers, the message was so powerful, so eloquent, that the only thing they could come up with to explain it away was to call it obvious magic. Okay, so once the message is on the table, the surah does something really cool. It shifts our gaze from the words on a page to the world we see every day. It basically argues that proof of God isn't just in a book, it's written all over the universe. And this is where we hit a really key concept, the word ayat. It's amazing because it means two things at the same time. It means the verses you read in the Quran, and it means the signs and wonders you see in creation. It connects the written word and the natural world, saying, hey, these are both from the same source. So what are these signs? Well, the surah points to these huge, cosmic patterns that we see every single day. The sun, this brilliant, shining glory. The moon, a source of light with these precise, calculated stages that let us track time. And of course, the constant cycle of night and day. This isn't just nice scenery, it's presented as evidence of a deliberate, intelligent design. And here's the real kicker. These signs aren't just there to look pretty. The surah makes it super clear that these things are detailed for people who actually think, who use their reason. The universe in this view is like an open book, waiting for us to read it. So we've looked at signs in the cosmos, right? Now the narrative pivots and looks at signs from our own history. It gives us these short, punchy case studies about prophets and what happened to their people. And what you see is this pattern that just keeps repeating itself over and over. A messenger comes with a clear message, the people have to make a choice, and that choice leads to a very real, very direct consequence. It's like history is teaching us one big lesson. Now, the story of Moses and Pharaoh gets a major spotlight here. It's this epic showdown between God's authority and human arrogance. And the story is clear. When Pharaoh and his crew rejected the message, it wasn't because they lacked proof. It was because of their pride and their desperate grip on power. Wow, this part is just incredibly powerful. As Pharaoh is literally drowning, he tries to declare his faith, but it's just too late. And God's response is chilling. He says his body will be saved not as a mercy to him, but as a physical sign, an ayah, for all of us who come later. But it's not all doom and gloom. The surah presents this amazing counterexample. The people of Jonah, or Yunus. They're the one and only community mentioned that when they saw punishment coming, they all turned back to God. And their faith was accepted. Their fate was completely turned around, which is this incredible example of how mercy is on the table, right up until the very end. Okay, so you've got the revelation, the signs in the universe, the stories from history. What does it all lead to? Well, it all funnels down to one single, fundamental choice that every single one of us has to make. To explain this, the surah uses this absolutely beautiful metaphor. It says, this life is like rain that makes the earth green and beautiful and full of life for a little while, and then poof, it dries up and becomes nothing, like it was never even there. It's a huge warning not to get fooled by temporary glitter. And flowing right from that metaphor, the surah lays out the two possible outcomes. And man, the contrast couldn't be clearer. For those who do good, their reward is the best, and even more, something even beyond our imagination. But for the wrongdoers, it's a just consequence, with their faces covered in a darkness that kind of reflects what was inside them. So in the end, it really all boils down to this one simple number. 2. That's it. 2 paths. 2 choices. two very different destinations. The whole complexity of life is simplified into this one critical decision. So after all these heavy warnings and these really stark contrasts, the Surah's tone kind of shifts in this final section. It reveals that the whole point of this message isn't just to warn us, but to actually invite us to something better. And this verse, this really gets the heart of the whole thing. The primary action from God is an invitation. An invitation to what? To Dar al-Salam, the home of peace. A place where there's no more fear, no more sadness, no more chaos, just peace. So what is the Quran according to this chapter? Well, it tells us exactly what it is. It's an admonition to kind of wake us up. It's a healing for all the stuff going on inside our hearts. It's a roadmap, a source of guidance. And ultimately, it's a mercy for those who believe. It's like a complete spiritual toolkit. And that brings us to the final instruction, the what to do next part. It's really simple. Follow the guidance you've been given and do it with patience, especially when it's tough. And second, put your complete trust in God because He is the best of all judges. So, we're left with this final, powerful question that just kind of hangs in the air. The signs have been shown, the stories have been told, the choice has been made clear. The invitation to the abode of peace is open. The next move? Well, that's up to you.